Okay, so last lesson of the week. First of all, you can check. So the homework was to submit on Seesaw the dog example, dog walking example. So you can check on Seesaw by the end of this lesson to see that I would have switched yours with somebody as long as yours is correct, or what I would have written you a couple of points of feedback. So that's the first thing to check, or just to make sure that you have finished. So make sure that you have the dog example finished. Okay, so today what we are doing is just doing more of the same thing. We're practicing more word problems and then turning word problems into tables and then turning tables into pattern rule and then a pattern rule finally to get the end goal of an expression. Okay, so this is the tip to think about what is actually happening in the situation. Now, these steps are the exact same from yesterday, so you do not need to write down the steps because we already have done this. We're just going to do the example. I'm just going to have the steps visible though, just as a reminder, but you do not need to write them in because you already did it. So steps are, first of all, we have to create a table with appropriate headings, okay? And then we need to fill in the table using information from the story problem. Third, we will finish the pattern rule or find the pattern rule that relates the input to the output. So that's back to what we've been practicing for the last couple weeks. And then last but not least, and the most important thing, is to be able to create the expression. Okay, so this is our example, and I would like you to write this in. So our class is buying a fish. The tank costs 50 dirhams and each fish costs 3 dirhams. Okay. So first of all, we have to set up a table with appropriate headings. So that was a comment I made to some people the other day, was to make sure that we don't have just input output, to make sure that we actually have an accurate representation of what's happening in the example. So the thing that's increasing by a normal amount is, or our input would be, the number of fish, and then the cost is going to be changing. So we need to think about what we would have for the fish. Okay. Well, first of all, whoopsies. Okay, so for the fish, okay, I'm going to start off our table today a little bit differently. What if I had 0 fish? How much would I have still spent? I would have spent, I can hear you saying, I would have spent 50 dirhams because I would have had to bought in or purchased the fish tank before I even bought a fish. Then if I have 1 fish, I know it's going to cost, I'd be spending 50 dirhams anyway on the tank, plus I'd be spending 3 more dirhams, so on the fish, that's 53 dirhams. Then we're going to fish 2, if I bought 3 fish in my aquarium, or 4 fish to have more of like a fish school, there we go. So if I bought 2 fish, it would be 56 dirhams, and then 3 again would be 3 more, so 59, and then we would have 62. Okay. So we're thinking about to get our, okay, so we've done our table. We filled in our table. Now we're trying to figure out the pattern rule. Okay, so how much are we increasing by? Our cheat is, we know that we're increasing by 3 each time. So I'm going to try starting off with, this is kind of what we typically found has been successful, putting 3 over here. Okay. So I have 0 times 3 gives me 0, right? And then how do I get to 50? Well, I add 50. Okay, right on. So over here, I'm going to add 50. Okay, let's just keep these numbers in our head to see if this works. 1 times 3 is 3, plus 50 is 53, okay? And then 2 times 3 is 6, and then 6 plus 50 is 56. All right, so there we go. We have our pattern rule. Now we have to write the expression. So this is what we've been practicing the past couple days. We attach our variable, which is, in this case, I'm going to use f as my variable to represent the number of fish. So 3 times the number of fish I have, and then I'm going to do plus 50. Okay, there we go. So that's your expression. Hopefully that makes sense to you, or it's becoming to be a little bit more clear now. Okay, next example is example number 2. Okay, so I would like you to write this in again. So here is, okay, oh, those are the tips. Oh, I shouldn't have put in question. That should be the steps. Okay, so again, fill in the table. Write the expression. Okay, that's it. Oh, right, I did put question. Because this could possibly be the question that's given to you. Or they might even have the question as, here's your question right here. And then bam, tell me what the expression is. So all the stuff we did previously, that was kind of like the behind the scenes work to getting to our final goal. Kind of like you're putting on a school show. All the behind the scenes work is all of the problem solving you're doing to get that final expression or that final answer. Okie dokie. So you earn $20 each week plus $5 for each chore that you do. Okay. So I've already filled in the table, the headings, but hopefully this makes sense. I guess I should have left that out for us. So this would have been a class discussion, but I kind of just did it. So number of chores. Alrighty. So if I did no chores, or if I did one chore, two, maybe you cleaned up the dishes, and then maybe you cleaned up the dishes and made your bed. Maybe you cleaned up the dishes, made your bed, and helped to, I don't know, maybe like put away the dishes after the dishwasher was empty. Then 4, maybe you even helped to Windex or something like that. Okay, so if you did no chores, you get this allowance of $20, okay? So if you did no chores, that's pretty generous, I guess. That'd be like around like 60 dirhams kind of thing. So it's pretty good for not even doing anything. And then if you did one chore, then your parents are going to add on $5. So it's going to be 25. And then if we did another 2 chores, we'd get $10 on top of our original $20 allowance. And if we did 3, going up again, and then going up again. So if you did 4 chores, that's pretty good. You earn $40. Okay. So what is our pattern rule? So here we're doing our cheat. We're increasing by 5 each time. Okay. So I'm going to automatically think over here that's going to be probably times 5. Okay. Then how do we get to 20? Okay. Well, 0 times 5 is 0 plus how much is 20? It's going to be plus 20. Okay. Now, this is the other kind of thing we're going to notice from these word problems. In a way, they're kind of easier because they give us the numbers that we see in our input-output box anyway. So in a way, that some of these word problems actually aren't too bad, but we just have to really keep straight what goes where. So that's why I always suggest that you do this tip over here is how much are we increasing by? Okay. So we have done number 1, we filled in the values. Now we're going to write the expression. Okay, so we can jump right there. So it's going to be 5c plus 20. Okay, hopefully we are okay for knowing how we got there because that's what's in the machine, right? Okay, so now how much do you earn if you do 7 chores? Okay, so I'm going to do 5. And then rather than putting my C, which is my variable, which changes, I'm going to put times by 7 because that's how many chores I'm doing in this question or in this example. And then it's going to be plus 20, okay? So now we have to follow PEMDAS or BEDMAS. They mean the same thing. We can just even do this in our head. 5 times 7 is 35. 35 plus 20 is 55. There you go. So you would earn 55. And when we're writing dollars, we should put the dollar sign ahead. Dirhams, you put it behind. Okay? Now, next is how much do you earn if you do 15 chores? Okay? So I'm going to do 5 times 15 rather than C because I did 15 chores. And then I'm going to add on 20. Okay? Great. Excellent. So now, again, we have to do BEDMAS or PEMDAS. So 5 times 15, I can do this in my head. 5 times 10 would be 50. And then 50 would be plus 5 times 5, which is 25. So 75 is 5 times 15. And then plus 20 would be 95. There you go. That's pretty good. That's like almost 300 dirhams if you do 15 chores. Wow. I wonder if work out some deal like this with your parents. That'd be pretty good to do some extra chores. Okay, there you go. So hopefully that has made sense. Okay. And this is your homework. It's not going to be too much for the weekend. Okay. So it's only 2 things. Solving your partner's question on Seesaw. Okay, so the first thing is to make sure that you have submitted and you've accurately done the Seesaw question before I flip you with somebody else. And then the textbook, question 4 on page 23, which is here. Okay, so it's the page after the one that we just did. Okay, now this is a little bit tricky, but I think you guys will be okay to do it. I do want you to do all of the questions up until E. So, yeah, you can read through this and then see if you understand it. You're going to see it's following really similar to stuff to what we've done. E is the most challenging, but I want you to see if you can figure out how you would do this. You might have to think about a skill that we developed from last week to be able to do E. Okay, so good luck. And I guess I'll see you guys on Seesaw with answering each other's questions, and then I'll be flipping them back and forth between a classmate. Good job.